Viral infections. Viruses are much smaller than the other infectious agents and contain either DNA or RNA, not both, which occur in bacteria and other microorganisms. Since they are metabolically inert, they must live intracellularly using the host cell for synthesis of viral proteins and nucleic acids. Viruses have a central nucleic acid core surrounded by a protein coat that is antigenically unique for a particular virus. The protein coat capsid imparts a helical or icosahedral structure to the virus. Some viruses also possess an envelope consisting of lipid and protein. Replication of viruses within a cell may result in sufficient distortion of normal cell function so as to result in cell death, a cytocidal or cytolytic infection, as it is called so. However, acute cell death is not an inevitable consequence of virus infection of a cell. In a chronic or persistent infection, virus replication continues throughout the lifespan of the cell but does not interfere with the normal cellular processes necessary for cell survival. Hepatitis B and C viruses may interact with cells in this way. Some viruses, for example the herpes family, are able to go latent within a cell. In such a state, the virus genome is present within the cell, but there is very little, if any, production of viral proteins and no production of mature viral particles. Finally, some viruses are able to transform cells, leading to uncontrolled cell division. For example, Epstein-Barr virus infection of B lymphocytes result in the generation of immortal lymphoblastoid cell line. Human DNA viruses include adenoviride, herpes viride, hepatinoviride, papoviride, parvoviride, and poxviride families. Adenoviruses. Over 50 adenovirus serotypes have been identified as human pathogens infecting a number of different cell types and therefore resulting in different clinical syndromes. Adenovirus infection commonly present as an acute pharyngitis and extension of infection to the larynx and trachea in infants may lead to croup. By school age, the majority of children show serological evidence of previous infection. Certain subtypes produce an acute conjunctivitis associated with pharyngitis. In adults, adenovirus causes acute follicular conjunctivitis and rarely pneumonia that is clinically similar to that produced by Mycoplasma pneumoniae. Certain adenoviruses cause gastroenteritis without respiratory disease, and adenovirus infection may be responsible for acute mesenteric lymphadenitis in children and young adults. Mesenteric adenitis due to adenoviruses may lead to intussusception in infants. Infection in an immunocompromised host, for example, a bone marrow transplant recipient, may result in multi-system failure and fatal disease. Members of herpes viride family are causes of a wide range of human diseases. The hallmark of all herpes virus infections is the ability of the virus to establish latent or silent infection that then persists for the life of the individual. Two types of herpes simplex virus have been identified. HSV1 is the major cause of herpetic stomatitis, herpes labialis, that is cold sore, keratoconjunctivitis, and encephalitis. Whereas HSV2 causes genital herpes and may also be responsible for systemic infection in the immunocompromised host. These divisions, however, are not rigid, for HSV1 can give rise to genital herpes and HSV2 can cause infection in the mouth. The portal of entry of HSV1 infection is usually via the mouth and occasionally skin. The primary infection may go unnoticed or may produce a severe inflammatory reaction with vesicle formation leading to painful ulcers, gingivostomatitis. The virus then remains latent, most commonly in trigeminal ganglia, but may be reactivated by stress, trauma, febrile illnesses, and ultraviolet radiation, producing the recurrent form of the disease known as herpes labialis or cold sores. Approximately 70% population are infected with HSV1 and recurrent infections occur in one third of the individuals. Reactivation often produces localized paresthesias in the lip before the appearance of a cold sore. Complications of HSV1 include transfer to the eye, dendritic ulceration, keratitis, acute encephalitis, skin infections such as herpetic whitlow, and erythema multiforme. HSV2 remains latent in the sacral ganglia and during recurrence can produce radiculomyelopathy with pain in the groin, buttocks, and upper thighs. Primary anorectal herpes infection is common in men having sex with men. Neonates may develop primary HSV infection following vaginal delivery in the presence of active genital HSV infection in the mother, particularly if maternal disease is primary rather than a recurrent infection. The disease in the baby varies from localized skin lesions in about 10 to 15% patients to widespread visceral disease, often with encephalitis with very poor prognosis. Caesarean section should therefore be performed if active genital HSV infection is present during labor. Immunocompromised patients, such as those receiving intensive cancer chemotherapy or those with the acquired immunodeficiency syndromes, may develop disseminated HSV infection involving many of the viscera. In severe cases, death may result from hepatitis and encephalitis. Humoral antibody develops following primary infection, but mononuclear cell responses probably prevent dissemination of the disease. Varicella zoster produces two distinct diseases, varicella chickenpox and herpes zoster shingles. The primary infection is chickenpox. It usually occurs in childhood, the virus entering through the mucosa of upper respiratory tract. In some countries, like our region and Indian subcontinent, a different epidemiological pattern exists with most infections occurring in the adulthood. Chickenpox rarely occurs twice in the same individual. Infectious virus is spread from fresh skin lesions by direct contact or airborne transmission, and the period of infectivity in chickenpox extends from 2 days before the appearance of the rash until the skin lesions are all at the crusting stage. Following recovery from chickenpox, the virus remains latent in dorsal root and cranial nerve ganglia. Reactivation of infection then results in shingles. Clinical features of chickenpox. 14 to 21 days after exposure to VZV, a brief prodromal illness of fever, headache, and malaise heralds the eruption of chickenpox, characterized by a rapid progression of macules to papules to vesicles to pustules in a matter of hours. In young children, the prodromal illness may be very mild or absent. The illness tends to be more severe in older children and can be debilitating in adults. The lesions occur on the face, scalp, and trunk, and to a lesser extent on the extremities. It is characteristic to see skin lesions at all stages of development on the same area of skin. Fever subsides as soon as new lesions cease to appear. Eventually, the pustules crust and heal without scarring. Complications of chickenpox include pneumonia, which generally begins 1 to 6 days after the skin eruption, and bacterial superinfection of the skin lesions. Pneumonia is more common in adults than in children, and cigarette smokers are at particular risk. Pulmonary symptoms are usually more striking than the physical findings, although a chest radiograph usually shows diffuse changes throughout both lung fields. CNS involvement occurs in 1 per 1000 cases and most commonly presents as an acute truncal cerebral ataxia. The immunocompromised are susceptible to disseminated infection with multi-organ involvement. Pregnant women are prone to severe chickenpox, and in addition, there is risk of intrauterine infection with structural damage to the fetus, especially if maternal infection is within the first 20 weeks of pregnancy. The risk of varicella embryopathy is 1 to 2%. Clinical features of shingles. Shingles arises from the reactivation of virus which is latent within the dorsal root or cranial nerve ganglia. It may occur at all ages but is most common in the elderly, producing skin lesions similar to chickenpox, although classically they are unilateral and restricted to a sensory nerve, that is restricted to dermatomal distribution. The onset of rash of shingles is usually preceded by severe dermatomal pain, indicating the involvement of sensory nerves in its pathogenesis. Virus is disseminated from freshly formed vesicles and may cause chickenpox in susceptible contacts. Commonest complication of shingles is postherpetic neuralgia. Diagnosis is usually clinically but can be confirmed by detection of VZV DNA within vesicular fluid using PCR, electron microscopy, immunofluorescence, or culture of the vesicular fluid, and by serological methods. Chickenpox usually require no treatment in healthy children, and infection results in lifelong immunity. Acyclovir and its derivatives are, however, licensed for this in USA, where argument is one of health economics. The sooner the recovery, the sooner the carer can return to work. However, the disease may be fatal in immunocompromised who should therefore be offered protection after exposure to virus with zoster immunoglobulin. Anyone with chickenpox who is over the age of 16 should be given antiviral acyclovir or a similar drug if they present within 72 hours of onset. Prophylactic zoster immunoglobulin is recommended for women in pregnancy exposed to varicella zoster virus, and if chickenpox develops, acyclovir should be given. Acyclovir has not been licensed for use in the pregnant women. If woman has chickenpox at term, her baby should be protected by immunoglobulin if delivery occurs within 7 days of onset of mother's rash. An effective live attenuated varicella vaccine is licensed as a routine vaccination of childhood in the USA. It is available on a named patient basis in the UK and also for susceptible healthcare workers. Shingles involving motor nerve, for example, 7th cranial nerve, can lead to facial palsy, and it is also treated with acyclovir or their derivatives, as the duration of lesion formation and time to healing can be reduced by early treatment. Acyclovir, valacyclovir, and famciclovir have all been shown to reduce the burden of zoster-associated post-herpetic neuralgia when treatment is given in the acute phase. Shingles involving the ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerve has an associated incidence of acute and chronic ophthalmic complications of 50%. Early treatment with acyclovir reduces this to 20% or less. As for chickenpox, all immunocompromised individuals should be given acyclovir at the onset of shingles, no matter how mild the attack appears when it first presents. Recent evidence suggests that vaccination of all adults over 60 with a dose higher than that used for chickenpox Prophylaxis in childhood reduces shingle related morbidity and post herpetic neuralgia. Infection with CMV is found worldwide. Clinically significant CMV infections arise particularly in two patient groups: fetuses who acquire the infection transplacentally and are born congenitally infected, and patients who are immunosuppressed. For example, transplant recipients are patients with HIV infection. Over 50% of adults have serological evidence of latent infection with CMV. As with all herpes viruses, the virus persists for life, usually as a latent infection in which the naked DNA is situated extrachromosomally in the nuclei of the cell in the endothelium of the arterial wall and in the T lymphocytes. In healthy adults, CMV infection is usually asymptomatic but may cause an illness similar to infectious mononucleosis with fever, occasionally lymphocytes with atypical lymphocytes, and hepatitis with or without jaundice. The Paul Bunnell test for heterophile antibody is negative. Infection may be spread by kissing, intercourse, or blood transfusion and transplacentally to the fetus. Disseminated fatal infection with widespread visceral involvement occurs in the immunocompromised and may cause encephalitis, rhinitis, and pneumonitis, and diffuse involvement of the gastrointestinal tract. Intrauterine infection may arise from either primary or reactivated maternal infection. CMV is by far the commonest congenital infection. In developed countries such as UK, 0.3 to 1% of all babies are born with congenital infection. Around 5 to 10% of such CMV infected babies have severe disease evident at birth with a poor prognosis. CNS involvement may cause microcephaly and motor disorders. Jaundice and hepatosplenomegaly are common, and thrombocytopenia and hemolytic anemia also occur. Periventricular calcification is seen on skull X-ray. A further 5 to 10% of infected babies are normal at birth, but developmental abnormalities become apparent later. For example, sensorineural nerve deafness. The remaining 80 to 85% infected babies are normal at birth and they develop normally. Treatment: in the immunocompetent people, infection is usually self-limiting and no specific treatment is required. In the immunosuppressed, ganciclovir 5 mg per kg daily for 14 to 21 days reduces retinitis and GI damage and can eliminate CMV from blood, urine, and respiratory secretions. It is less effective against pneumonitis. In patients who are continually immunocompromised, particularly those with AIDS, maintenance therapy may be necessary. Drug resistance has been reported in AIDS patients and transplant recipients. Bone marrow toxicity is common. Valganciclovir, foscarnet, and cidofovir are also available. Treatment of CMV in neonates is difficult. Valganciclovir for infected babies with evident CNS involvement has been shown to improve the long-term hearing outcome in these babies. So that was it for the herpes and CMV viral infections. Thank you for listening.